Ted Cruz is one of the most smarmy, weaselly politicians of all time. There was a video that just came out last week from the Good Liars, and they go to, they're like left-wing dudes, but they go to the Trump rally and they interview Trump supporters, and it was a very touching moment when they talk to some Trump supporters about how Ted Cruz sucks. And something everybody seems to agree on is that Ted Cruz sucks. Even the hardcore Trump guys are like, I can't fucking stand that guy. And it's like, hey, common ground, baby. This is what we're all about. Okay, so this is in a raw story. Ted Cruz cut himself $555,000 check from his own campaign after favorable Supreme Court ruling. So now let me give you the specifics here, and you can understand exactly why he did this lawsuit to get more money in politics, okay? And then also what the implications are as a result of this. This is really something. On Monday, Business Insider reported that after Senator Ted Cruz, Republican of Texas, won a Supreme Court case eliminating a 2002 campaign finance law, he cut himself a $555,000 check from his own campaign, a self-payment that would not have been legal prior to the decision. Cruz received $555,000 from his campaign account 2 months ago, according to new documents filed with the Federal Election Commission, reported Brian Metzger. And the one-time presidential candidate and two-term senator has the U.S. Supreme Court to thank for it. When Cruz first ran for the United States Senate in 2012, he loaned his campaign over $1 million of his own money amid a heated primary campaign against then Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst of Texas. Cruz would go on to win a runoff against Dewhurst, said the report. However, the 2002 Bipartisan Campaign Reform Act, championed by the late Republican Senator John McCain of Arizona, set a $250,000 limit on the amount of money that candidates could raise after the election for the purpose of paying off personal loans to their campaign committee. Thus, Cruz essentially lost $545,000 of his own money after the campaign, with the outstanding portion of the loans converted to an in-kind contribution, said the report. 6 years later, facing an unexpectedly competitive re-election campaign against then-Representative Beto O'Rourke in 2018, Cruz opted to challenge the law. He lent his campaign $260,000, just $10,000 more than the limit, on November 5th, just 1 day before the election. Cruz's subsequent lawsuit, which led to the 6-3 Republican appointee-controlled Supreme Court invalidating the rule, is one of a series of right-wing Supreme Court decisions over the last decade invalidating various rules governing how political groups spend money. While the ruling leaves in place individual contribution limits, the limit on raising money to repay personal loans effectively allows people to pay candidates directly after the election is complete, creating more opportunities for favor trading and bribery. So there it is. There it is. So let me repeat that. This is the important part, guys. This is the most important part. While the ruling leaves in place individual contribution limits, the limit on raising money to repay personal loans effectively allows people to pay candidates directly after the election is complete, creating more opportunities for favor trading and bribery. Cruz faces re-election in 2024, 6 years after his closely watched contest with O'Rourke. His seat is one of a very small handful of Republican-held seats that year Democrats can contest, as nearly all potentially competitive races that year are seats they are defending. Okay, so look at what's going on here. Now, make no mistake about it. He knew what he was doing. He knew exactly what he was doing when he waged this lawsuit. He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew he wanted to create the ability for more favor trading and bribery. He knew he's opening up the door. So now he could personally take, right? However, let's say $500,000. He could take $500,000 from Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan Chase, whatever, Exxon, fill in the name of a company or the name of an individual who's like an executive at a company. He can take that money. He can turn around and contribute it to his own campaign, right? And then after the election is over, he can turn around, pay himself back with that money, But really, effectively, what happened here? He may have pawned it off as, oh, this is my money, and so I'm paying myself back with that money, but really could have just been a literal direct bribe. A direct bribe from a big corporation, a billionaire, CEO, whoever. Some right-wing group. So, that's why they say that we're talking about creating more opportunities for favor trading and bribery. Look, Ted Cruz, effectively, just so everybody understands, you know what he wants, right? He wants, literally, no regulation on campaign finance. And I know this because he's argued openly that he thinks donating to politicians, donating to political causes, donating to super PACs and things of that nature, he thinks that's a right. He thinks that's protected under free speech, under the First Amendment. That, like, why should the government have any say, any regulations, any rules around who donates to my campaign and how much they donate? Why should they have any rules around that? You're limiting somebody's free speech if you say you can only donate X amount, you know, the money can only be used in X ways, X, Y, and Z. There needs to be this disclosure rule around it. He thinks all of that is unconstitutional. But think about how insane that belief system is. If money equals speech, then the people with the loudest voice in what's supposed to be a democracy are going to be billionaires and corporations and people with all the money. You are much less likely to listen to your constituents if you got, you know, big dollar donors who are your sugar daddies who keep your campaign afloat and who you're going to, first and foremost, you're going to have to serve them when you're in office, right? So what do you want? You know, you gave me the money, you allowed me to win, what do you want? Look, if money equals speech, then why shouldn't murder for hire be legal? Because you're not actually paying to have somebody murdered. If money is speech, you're just saying, hey man, Dave's a piece of shit, he should really be murdered. Because it's money speech, right? So it's not a transaction where you are actually paying for somebody to be killed if you do murder for hire. It's you're just saying, I think Dave should probably be killed. I'd like to see Dave killed. You're allowed to say that, right? Right? It's not a direct threat of violence. You're just saying, oh, it'd be something if Dave got killed, right? Why shouldn't prostitution be legal? You know, if money is speech, you're not paying for sex. You're just saying how much you like blowjobs and sex. Are we really willing to take this logic of money equals speech to its conclusion? Follow it to its conclusion. You get a whole bunch of weird ass ideas. No, the fact of the matter is, yeah, when you have unlimited money in politics, the richest people are going to control the system. That is an oligarchy. That is a kleptocracy. That is not a democracy at all. And so the real answer is what's called clean elections. It's public financing of elections. So you could actually have a debate around the policies and the ideas and the philosophies, and it's not over, hey, I won, so I'm going to serve my set of donors, and when the other person wins, they can, serve their set of donors. That's a terrible system. And that's how you get, by the way, Congress, which has an approval rating sometimes of like 9%, or 18% on a good day, right? That's how you get it. Anyway, Ted Cruz is loathsome. And it's so funny that he postures as being some sort of a populist when he's clearly one of the most corrupt politicians in the whole country. There is nothing populist about wanting more big money in politics. That is the opposite of populist. That is deeply, deeply elitist. Ever since Adpocalypse, when YouTube defunded all independent news and politics overnight, we haven't trusted them. We know they can pull the rug out from underneath us at any time. If you enjoy this content, please consider tipping $1 or $2 per month on the Secular Talk Patreon. Link in the video description box below. Thanks for your support.